Oh,
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment meeting for the Township of Georgian Bay for Friday, February the 18th, 2022. My name is Tom Hill, and I'll be chairing the meeting today. And this morning there is only one application that is not subject to a public meeting to consider a minor variance application. I will briefly summarize the procedure to be utilized for the meeting. First, the Secretary Treasurer will advise the committee as to when, how, to whom notice of each hearing has been circulated for the application being considered. Next, this application will be considered separately. Planning staff will advise the purpose and effect of the applications and provide any information that is relevant. The Secretary Treasurer will summarize all correspondence on file, and from there, the applicant will make a brief presentation if they so choose, and the public will have an opportunity to speak to the applications being considered. After the public forum, the committee will then deliberate on the proposed application and consider a motion to either pass, defeat, or defer the decision for the application. The minor variance application not subject to a public meeting this morning is application number A21-05 for 30 Heath Valley Trail. Before we begin, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion to adopt the minutes of our December 17th, 2021 meeting, being as there was no meeting in January. I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes of December 17, 2021 as circulated. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The vote is unanimous and the motion is carried. I have a second resolution to adopt the agenda for today's meeting. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment adopts the agenda dated February 18, 2022. The motion is moved by Member Caddo, seconded by Member Demke. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is accepted unanimously and the motion is carried. I would ask the Secretary Treasurer if there's been any correspondence relative to today's application.
Notice of each of the applications was sent by first-class mail to respective owners and assessed persons within 120 meters, 500 meters, or 800 meters, and to those persons and agencies likely to have an interest in the application. Notices were sent at least 20 days prior to the meeting. Included in each notice was an explanation of the purpose and effect of the application and a key map showing the location of the property. Other relevant information may have been provided. These circulations were provided in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act 1990.
Thank you very much. Our first and only application today is application number A21-05 for 30 Heath Valley Trail. To the planner, please.
So I believe the planner doing today's presentation is slightly delayed. There's a message here from Dr. Spella. So I think we're just waiting on Sarah.
Mr. Chair, apologize for the delay. We're working at getting our planner on board right now onto the meeting. Appreciate your patience and apologize for any inconvenience.
It's no problem. I expect this is one of those technical problems where we're unable to join the Zoom meeting.
We'll get it resolved shortly, I'm sure.
Okay, that's great.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me? Yes, not.
Barely, Bill.
you can't hear me.
Good morning, and I noticed we have the applicant joining us this morning, and I'm not sure exactly when you joined, Mr. Harkness, but we've had a slight delay here due to the planner having some difficulty getting connected to the meeting. So please bear with us, and we hopefully will be up and running shortly.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just sit back on mute.
Thank you.
Well, we've got a break here. I was wondering if I would take this opportunity just to make sure this headset is working. Can people hear me okay? Mr. Mayor, you don't want to hear me anyway.
Well, just as an aside here while we're waiting, Colin, what's the ice like out on the bay? You're muted.
Lots of ice this year.
Did you run into, we had terrible trouble for quite a while here with slush.
Yeah, I think that warm weather there the other day kind of helped us, and cold weather last night's gonna freeze her up pretty good. So
Yeah.
hasn't been too
Great.
bad on the day.
Nice.
Yeah, the view at the Thompson Island camera right now shows the ice looks pretty good.
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are on the island, and they've got about 16 inches of black ice up there. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
it'll keep going for a while, I guess. Not much snow in the bush, so.
No, that's not much out there, that's for sure.
Bill, you noted that you're having trouble with your audio. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we certainly can't hear you. I'm
Maybe
having
we'll
trouble
try-
reading your lips too.
You want to try leaving and signing in, or? I'll leave that to you.
I could try that.
Bill, you don't happen to have a set of headphones plugged into your computer or something like that that's causing that problem?
While we're waiting, I do have one comment. I know there was a question at a previous meeting about voting on minutes if you didn't attend the meeting. So I did do further research, and according to Robert's Rules of Order, if a member did not attend a meeting, they still can vote on the minutes. So just wanted to make note of that.
Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you, Sydney.
Does that work?
We can hear you
That's
now.
better.
Headphones was the idea. Hang on one sec.
Don't stick them in too far.
We'll go right through.
So the planner will be on by 10:20.
Be better now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Bill.
Oh, I can really hear you guys too. Sorry, it's this tablet, and down here when it's 70 degrees, it doesn't want to work on its own, I guess.
Where are you, Bill?
South Carolina, Hilton Head. I sent a message that I wouldn't be attending, but my old timers had kicked in, and I thought it was last Friday, and we were in transit then, but here we go.
So Sarah's logging on right now. I just got a hold of her on the phone, so we'll be good to go in about a minute.
Excellent.
Very good. Thank you.
It's been a crazy year for the amount of wood used in the wood stove with all the cold weather.
And Dr. Haspala, is it Sarah that's going to be doing the presentation, or Aaron?
It will be Sarah Verrill from JLR giving the presentation. Aaron's off today.
Yeah,
Okay.
And Sarah is here.
I'm just waiting for them, but to get all of them at once.
Well, that's only 4.
Mr. Chair, Sarah's here, so as soon as you're ready to proceed and
Very
see
well.
that we're still trying to resolve some technical issues with some other members.
Can you hear us okay, Sarah?
You couldn't see them all.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Just by way of introduction, we had started the meeting by going through our normal procedures. The agenda for today includes only one application, which is a non-public application that was heard prior, as I'm sure you're aware. And so as far as our procedure goes at this particular stage, we would ask you to present your report and recommendations on behalf of the Planning Department of the Township of Georgian Bay. So with that, please proceed.
Thank you. And I will share my screen. And I believe that should be up. So let me know if you can see this.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is, as mentioned, this is minor variance application A2105. This was deferred back in May 2021 when it was brought forward for a public hearing to the Committee of Adjustment. So it's coming back now after staff has had additional time to review the application and the information that was provided during the public hearing. The applicant on this file is Terry Harkness. The address is 30 Heath Valley Trail, which is on Little Lake. And essentially the effect of the application is to facilitate the construction of the addition to an existing detached garage. This is an overview of the requested variances. So there are two variances that are required or requested for the detached garage. The first is to increase the maximum GFA of the garage. So from the 112 square meters that is permitted to 126 square meters. And then the second variance is to increase the maximum lot coverage. So in the SR1 zone, the maximum permitted is 10%, and the proposed lot coverage with the garage addition was 16.5%, so a difference of 6.5%. I will point out as well that we have included the existing existing numbers here. So, and just point out that we have an existing legal non-complying structures on the lot. So the existing lot coverage right now is actually at 15.3%. So a difference from the existing to proposed would be 1.2%. This is the location map. So as mentioned, it's on Heath Valley Trail on a bay coming off of Little Lake to the east of Port Severn. And there are about 25 properties kind of in this little bay. Here is the 2018 aerial imagery. So you can see that the lot is developed with an existing cottage located here, a deck with a boat port located on the shoreline. There are some existing 2018 accessory structures, some sheds, as well as the detached garage located at the rear of the property close to Heath Valley Trail. This is the site plan that was provided with the application. So you can see as well, again, the cottage, which is the primary structure on the lot, the wooden dock at the shoreline, which does have a covered boat port here. There is a deck. There is deck to be removed, or that has been removed already. A bunkie that was removed, several sheds that are noted to be removed, and as well the detached garage at the rear of the property on Heath Valley, closer to Heath Valley Trail with the proposed addition. The structures that are highlighted in red on this site plan now are ones that are either have been removed already or are to be removed. So those would not be included in that overall lot coverage. So in our review of the report and since the May 2021 meeting, we are recommending approval of the application. We feel that the proposed garage addition will be screened from the water. So based on the topography of the site, there is a significant rock outcropping kind of in the middle of the site. So we do feel that that addition will be screened from the water and not impact the character of the shoreline. The proposed lot coverage is slightly larger than what's existing. So as mentioned, going from that 15.3% to the 16.5%. And the garage, based on its size and location, would still remain incidental and accessory to the dwelling. We don't feel that it would become a predominant feature if the variances were to be permitted. The addition and development on the property will be subject to site plan control. So this gives the township a little bit more ability to regulate the character of the development further. And so items such as facade materials can be reviewed, and that can give you a little bit more assurance that it'll be appropriate for the character of the area and the development. As noted as well, 2 existing sheds and stairs will be removed from the proposed addition. So that will result in that 1.2 increase in lot coverage from what is existing. We do feel that this conforms to the PPS, the applicable planning policy documents, and meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Should committee decide to approve the application, we have recommended several conditions that go along with the approval. As noted, so the 2 accessory sheds, the wooden stairs would be removed as identified by the applicant. A survey would be provided. A site plan control approval as well would be submitted and approved. And along with that site plan control, we had reached out to Hutchinson, which is the township's environmental consultant, because there is fish habitat in the area, and they had recommended the inclusion of an erosion and sediment control plan. And that would be done through the site plan control as well. I believe that ends the presentation. So I'll stop sharing my screen and can take any questions from committee at this time.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Sarah. I'm going to ask our Madam Secretary, has there been any correspondence in this application?
Prior to the public meeting held in May 2021, one letter of support was received from Claudio Dean and one letter of no objection was received from Don Bernier. No further correspondence has been received.
Thank you. I did notice that the applicant is present. Is there anything, Mr. Harkness, you'd like to add to what the planner has presented?
No, I have nothing to add, Mr. Hill. Erin has been in contact with me quite regularly, and she's been very thorough in going through the details. And the presentation from Sarah was very accurate.
Thank you. Seeing there are no members of the public in attendance, I will close the public session of the meeting and bring the application before the committee for any questions or comments. And we will begin with Member Jarvis.
Thank you. And I appreciate the report and the updated report. So thank you, Sarah. My question would be to Sarah and Mr. Harkness. I note on the most recent plans that we've got a bunkie that's been removed, deck that's been removed, and one of two sheds that's been removed. Is that correct?
No, the two sheds are still intact, pending approval, and then I would remove them afterwards.
Okay. And then Sarah, do we have any control through site plan to make sure these structures have been removed?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Jarvis. Yes, so through site plan control, essentially that'll be putting down the plan which indicates exactly how that lot is going to be developed. So if those two sheds are to be removed, they wouldn't be shown on the future site plan, and the township would be able to ensure that they are removed through that process.
Okay, thank you. My concern was that the lot coverage issue after the sheds are removed, what the effect is, and Sarah, you've provided that in your report. That is fine by me, so I'm okay with this the way it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Jarvis. Member Caddo.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. The only question I had was Member Jarvis kind of answered that for me, I guess. So it's I'm okay with this.
Okay, thank you, Member Caddo. Member Demkew.
No, I have no real issues with this. I just wondered, I don't have my paperwork, I'm sorry, but what was the deferral for? I guess that'd be the planner.
Through the chair to Member Demkew. Yeah, so in May of 2021, there was some discussion around the what structures were to be removed, what structures were staying, and the overall calculation of the lot coverage. So there was some discussion around the boat port, which is at the shoreline. It's my understanding that the construction of the boat port right now is essentially with a fabric or tarpaulin cover, so of a somewhat temporary nature. But the way that the township zoning bylaw is, it includes that boat port in the calculation of lot coverage. So in the application and the number, the overall percentage of lot coverage that is requested, that includes keeping the boat port in there. There was some discussion during the May 2021 meeting about potentially removing the boat port, which would then lower the percentage of lot coverage, but that really only reduces it by about 1%. So in our recommendation, we have included the lot coverage to allow for the garage addition as well as keeping the boat port, because again, the boat port is on the shoreline. It's not kind of growth of that, which is affecting the overall lot coverage. So in our estimation, there didn't need to be inclusion of a condition to remove the boat port and lower the coverage by about 1%.
Okay, thank you for that. That answers any of my questions. I'm okay with this application.
Thank you. Member Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair Hill. I think it's very, very interesting with this most recent revival of the application that the existing lot coverage was in fact 15.3%. And so that with the sheds to be removed, et cetera, and the new garage being expanded, it's only a 1.2% increase. It's not visible from the water. So I'm quite happy with this application and support it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ferguson. Member Ferguson. Member Coutier.
Thank you, Chair Hill. I'm afraid I have a couple of questions with regards to the calculations. The 15.3% lot coverage, that I presume includes the two sheds that are still, does it include the bunkie that was removed?
Through Chair Hill to Member Coutier. So the 15.3% includes, was when the lot was purchased, so in 2016. So that includes and I'm going to say these in square feet, a 1,370 square foot cottage, a 410 square foot deck, the garage at 840 square feet, the two sheds, the bunkie, and the boat port. So that's the 15.3%.
The reason I ask is that, you know, the one shed, I'm looking at this sketch that's also has square feet, and it shows the one shed to be removed at 10 by 10. So I call that 100 square feet. The bunkie, I don't see any measurements on it, but the box drawn looks slightly bigger than that. So it's at least 100 square feet. The other shed to be removed, I don't see any numbers on it, but again, it's probably bigger than 100 square feet. So now we're over 300, maybe 350 square feet are being removed. A portion of the deck was removed, and it's hard to tell how much of that is, but it looks like that would be a few hundred square feet. And then we're adding a expansion of, according to the measurements here, of 520 square feet. I'm wondering why the lot coverage went up. I would have thought it would have stayed about the same or gone down, if you follow my thinking. Like for me, he's taken 3 outbuildings and a deck and is replacing it with a garage addition that I suspect, though I don't know for sure, actually covers less real estate than the things being removed. What am I missing something?
Through Chair Hill to Member Coutier. So I have a spreadsheet here, which perhaps I can bring that up if that would help. And so this shows the measurements in square feet. So this is the 2016 when the lot was, so what we're calling existing, and that includes the cottage, the deck, garage, the 2 sheds, the bunkie, and the boat port. So this is in March 2021. And perhaps I would defer to Mr. Harkness on this because I do see the cottage number is up here. And so that's where there is a bit of additional square footage here. The garage still is staying at that 840. The deck has lowered by about half. One of the sheds and one of the bunkies has been removed. The boat port and one of the sheds is still there. So we essentially are going though from, so even here we're at 14.5. This is what we're recommending, what has been requested and what we're recommending. So cottage is 1,655 square feet. That deck again is about half, so 200 square feet. The garage is 1,360 square feet. The sheds and the bunkies have been removed, and the boat port would still be permitted. So that's where we're at the 16.5. And again, to note, and I think that was some of the discussion, and again, why we're comfortable and feel this is appropriate for the development of the site, is now we have a cottage with an attached deck. So we have one primary structure. We have the garage, which is larger, but that's the only accessory structure essentially, or sorry. And we have the boat port, which is also considered that accessory structure. So we're significantly reducing the amount of structures on the site. And maybe Mr. Harkness, if you could just comment on the size of the cottage.
Yeah, thank you. Sarah, could you just drop that screen down so I can see?
Yeah.
Just feel more comfortable.
No worries.
Mr. Mayor, you have a keen eye. Yeah, and that's why we went through the spreadsheet. So when we bought the cottage, we set about basically upgrading it. And I think you may remember from my first presentation, our goal is to retire there in Port Severn. So we put an addition on the cottage, and we're just in the finishing stages of it. So it went from the original 1320 up to the 1655. So yes, the overall coverage did come down somewhat to, I think it was 14 or 15 or whatever it was there. And as a condition of the building permit, and when we went through planning for the cottage addition, we had to take out that first bunkie. And then anyway, so we've been working with the township since mid 2016 on various upgrades, replacing septic, putting addition onto the house, and our final move before we relocate permanently is to put the addition on their garage and then get rid of all the outbuildings and basically clean up the lot.
Well, I appreciate that, because what I was missing was the 285 square foot addition to the cottage, because that wasn't clear to me, that addition. And if it had been brought up half a year ago or whatever it was, actually it's more than half a year, about 10 months ago. Memory doesn't go 10 days, let alone 10 months. So no, I'd forgotten about that if it was mentioned before. But generally, I don't have an issue with this, given it the location, given that I think, as it was said in the report and a couple of times, the yard is basically being cleaned up or decluttered, or whatever the right phrase was, by removing all these small buildings, and it's reasonably consistent with the neighborhood, and so I don't have an issue with this application. I will be voting in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Kuchar. Member Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess it's just a couple of comments. Certainly the view from the canoe will not be affected by this. It's almost like two different views totally. There's quite a steep outcropping from the cottage down to the water. So you certainly won't see the garage from there. And from where the garage is, you won't see the boat port. So it's almost like two separate lots. Also curious that the garage will increase to almost the same size as the existing cottage. So I guess if you're retiring, you probably have a lot of toys, Mr. Harkness, and need the storage. My question is, it talked about the removal of the wooden stairs. I didn't see that on the spreadsheet, but I'm also wondering, were these the stairs leading down to the boat port? And if so, how do you plan to get down there if they are removed?
Well, that's a good question, Mr. Matthews. When we did the renovation, we were able to excavate in a basement, and now we go down to the lower level, and we have new stairs that are basically armor stone where you walk down. So in the presentation in the spring, there's a photograph, and I could forward that over again. But there's two sets of stairs side by side, the armor stone stairs that come out of the lower level of the house, and then the original stairs where you had to come out of the upper level. So that's what enables us to remove them.
Okay, actually, thank you, Mr. Harkness. It does now ring a bell about those stairs. And when I was there in January, I didn't want to get too close to the edge of the outcropping and fall down. So I guess I still go back to the stairs, the removal of the stairs. Does that help with the lot coverage? And I guess I'll ask maybe Sarah's.
Thank you. Through Chair Hill to Member Matthews. So I believe that number, it might be, it's either included with the deck, and I'm sorry, I don't have the detail right here, or depending on the height of the stairs, they may not be included in the overall lot coverage. So it depends on how high they are above the topography. So I don't think that changes our overall number. If it did, it would have been included in this deck number here. So we're still sticking with that recommendation of the 16.5%.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, and thank you everyone for your comments. Seeing no further comments, I will basically just summarize what was presented so far. In view of the 4 tests that were there, and especially the recommendation that was made by the planner Erin when she wrote her report. In terms of compliance with the PPS, the setback, there's no impact on the setback. There's no alterations to the shoreline. In conformance with the Muskoka OP, the property is not visible from the shoreline. And of course, there's less clutter once all those extra buildings are removed. There are a number of conditions in the resolution, which I'll read, that meet the requirements of the township of Georgian Bay. So we'll, if there are no further comments or questions, I will read the resolution. It is moved by Member Kuchar and seconded by Member Matthews. Be it resolved, let me just find it here. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment approves minor variance application A21-05 to zoning bylaw 2014-75 as amended for 30 Heath Valley Trail to permit an increased maximum floor area for a detached garage of 126.4 square meters and an increase in lot coverage of 16.5% for the reasons detailed in the Development Services Report 2022-09. And I expect you've all had an opportunity to read those exceptions. And with that, I would ask for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, the response is unanimous in favor. The application is hereby approved. Thank you all very much for your time and your participation. Sorry you had those problems getting connected, Sarah, but certainly made up for it when you got on board.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Harkness, for attending today.
Thank you, committee. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda, I have in front of me a resolution moved by Member Jarvis, seconded by Member Caddo. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment does now adjourn at 10:39 a.m. until March 18, 2022 at 10 a.m. or at the call of the chair. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. The vote is unanimously in favor. The motion is carried. Thank you all very much for your attendance today. And again, thank you to the Planning Committee for that training session on that preceded the program.